up, guys? This is Tristan Smith with Opening Doors Podcast, and today I'm here with Miss Sophia Langford with eXp Realty. How you doing today, Sophia?
Amazing, Tristan. Thank you so much for having me today.
For sure. It's a great Monday here in Huntsville. Very nice outside. Fall's starting to kick in. So I wanted to kind of bring her on and kind of do like an interview kind of thing to give her a more personal perspective for clients and viewers to be able to kind of get to know her a little more, because I feel like it's important for realtors to be able to get outside more and get more in front of the video so they can have a more personal connection and feel for people watching. I feel like it's beneficial. I hope you will think it's beneficial. So starting out, let's get a little bit of your backstory and kind of what got you into the business.
So I got into real estate about 7 years ago. I decided I would love to show people the benefits of home ownership, showing them how equity helps their financial growth and wealth building. So real estate was calling so I could help others see those benefits.
Okay, so that's a good reason, I would say. I would say, so let's get more in depth on that. Could you tell me a time, let's say you had one of those clients that you really had to put in the work for and like go above and beyond. Can you kind of give an example of that?
Absolutely. I think that is the majority of my clients, all of them. They have special situations and things that are going on, so you have to cater to those needs. So most of my clients come, it's rare people come perfect. Already credit ready, already know how to buy a house, already know. So that's a rare thing. I have to meet people where they are at.
Okay. Yeah, it's always one of those things, you got to have problem solving. It's got to be quick. Like my side, let's say a few weeks ago, I was working with a client and I realized they didn't have 2 years of their employment history. So I literally called it before it went through, for the pre-approval and everything. And I was like, hey, we can go ahead and do your pre-approval, but you can't close on anything till after November. And he was like, all right, that's fine. I was like, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware, because we can't do that. Absolutely. And so it's very important as a lender on my side. I think it's important to make sure you catch things up front further than later, so you don't have any complications once it gets to the underwriting and the back side of things.
So I find that for my clients, I feel that doing the consults in the beginning, when I take in a client, we decide that we want to work together, the first thing I want to do is do a consult. Either we're doing a buyer consult or a seller consult. That way we can get a general overview of what's expected. Because education is key. If they don't know what to do, then they're kind of lost. And you also want people to know how to do it again. If you want to buy a property later in life, you want to at least be able to say, okay, I remember this step and someone told me about this. It's always a lot of simple things. Buying a house is not easy. It's complex. It's a lot of simple things, but a lot of them that you have to do. Getting those check stubs, getting those W-2s. They're simple, but when it's all coming at you at once, it gets a little complex.
Yes, for sure.
On top of, then you got realtors showing you houses. So things get confusing. So I like to, in the beginning, do a consult so we can have understanding of how they like to communicate. Because some people want a telephone or some want text. So you want to know how they communicate so that you can be a benefit to them and what they're looking for. And so when I find that people are interested in buying a house, my first question is, have you been pre-approved? And people think it's like a money question because you're after the money, but it's usually the first step. So I can know where you need to be. So if you haven't been pre-approved, then I know you should do that so I can talk to you about the houses in your target price point.
Yeah.
The pre-approved. I don't want to talk to you about houses you can't buy.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about houses that you cannot buy. You will lose the spirit, the passion, the want to, because you're like, oh, I saw this mansion. I thought I was getting it. I'm only pre-approved for this little shack.
Yeah, that's
shack or not, buy it.
That's why I think that the pre-approval is important, because a lot of people go into it like exactly like you're saying, they're trying to find houses out of their affordability. So it's very important to do it up front. That way you're not stuck on this one house and then find it's out of your budget and price range, because then you're going to get discouraged and then you're not going to want to try and continue.
Absolutely.
So
and I also tell people, you want to eat that elephant in small bites. We're talking about the whole price, 200,000, but the small bite is that monthly payment with a 7.5% interest rate. What is that bite to you? Is that still a bite you want to take? Do we need to come down a little bit off? Even though you're pre-approved for 200, do I need to come down off that number so your monthly is more comfortable? Because then that means we need to go down in price point. So all of those numbers help me as the realtor, because I don't want to go wasting time, especially if we're on a time frame. You want to be able to be strategic and direct in where you're sending your clients, and then they would feel like you're more knowledgeable. Because if I have you everywhere, all over town, you're like, well, this lady's crazy. She's showing me everything. So I will not put anyone in the car until we're pre-approved, because I don't know where to take you.
Yeah, 100%. And another thing, like for the pre-approval side, talk a little more about it. A lot of people realize and be like, I understand that this is your max, but you don't have to go that high. Because I would rather someone be in a more comfortable position as far as payment than them max out what they can and then start struggling within the first few months.
So that number is important too. So when you say, I don't want this in a house, when they first sit down with us, they start telling me how they want a 3-car garage on an acre and they want this lavish setup of a home. But if the price point isn't there, I say, we don't need to start with that. Let's start with price point. The average home price in Huntsville, Madison County right now is $370,000 according to her last week. 370 is our average price point. So if your average home is 370, anything below that, I tell them it's below average. It's going to need some love. It's going to need something, because it is below average. But does that mean that's what you want? So sometimes when people see, well, I don't want it, when they're talking to you, I see 200,000 at this number. But when we go out and look at houses, they may see that 175 house needs all this work. Then I need to go up to that 200, because all that work means money out of my pocket. Because when they buy that home, then they have to go in and fix that carpet, fix that paint job, fix these appliances. But if I go up in my price point and get that $200,000 house, I may not have to do that. It may cost me more in my monthly, but at least I'm not looking out of pocket where I've just broke down and did my down payment and closed on the house and spent all this money. At the closing, I may not have the revenue or the pocket money to go do this fixer-upper project. So when I sit down with clients, we talk like that. I keep it real. The real is you can buy the lesser of the house and fix it up, but how is that fix-up going to look?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
You need to make sure you're prepared. If you're going to do that, you need to be prepared to say, hey, I'm going to have to fix this stuff.
Or is it worth it to you going up $100 in that payment and not worry about fixing that and not have to struggle trying to come up with the repair cost of a home?
100%. I agree with that. So I guess as far as where we're at now, I would say, what advice would you give new real estate professionals?
As a new agent in this market, you have to be outgoing. You have to be, you have to not be afraid and use your personality. Also, problem solving skills. Anyone that you meet is a potential client. Everyone is a potential client, and everyone should know that you sell houses. Even I'm guilty of that. I have to be better at not being a secret agent, letting people know that I am a realtor in the area, that I do these different real estate transactions, buying, selling, investment strategies. We all have to get out there and be our own bullhorn, vocal advocate. Let people know that you do real estate. And no one knows you're new unless you tell them you're new.
This is true. This is true. I always, from my standpoint, I feel that it's very important that more people should show their actual personality, because it goes a long way just being honest with people and being straightforward, but also being outgoing, fun. Make it fun. Don't make it such a stressful event for somebody trying to buy a house, because
Absolutely.
that just discourages people, and they're like, well, do I really want to work with them?
Right.
So,
and I always say, selling houses, everyone's a realtor now. Everybody wants to be a real estate agent. Everyone wants to sell houses. That's cool, but put your own swag to it. So no one can sell a house like me. Um, that's just it. No one will sell a house like you. You have to own your swag. You have to be confident in that, and let your personality speak for itself. You don't have to fake it, because people who like you will be drawn to you. And if I have to fake it, then I'm not gonna make it long, because I can only fake for so long. Then the real me comes out. So you're gonna get the raw, uncut me each time. Uh, I like to keep it fun. Buying houses can get stressful, and, and I'm not good there. So I like to make funnies. So
hey,
so it's gonna be fun.
you've got to make it fun,
We're gonna have
especially on this
fun.
side of things. It
That's
might
right.
start out, hectic, but if you make it fun in the process, I mean, people really see you and see how much you're actually doing for someone. So that's why I find it's important to actually just be yourself, have fun, cut up with the people,
That's right.
because it don't always have to be that serious. You just need to basically help them find the house, like my side, get the pre-approval, make sure they understand the transaction, everything that's going. If they have any questions through it, any paper, just make sure you're there to call them. Communication is like the number one thing, in my opinion. Like when somebody calls you, pick up the phone. I mean, it's not hard to communicate with your buyer's agent, seller's agent, your lender, title company. I mean, it's very important. So
absolutely. I got a listing appointment just this Friday. This lady says, you answered the phone, so I really want you to come by and check my house. I had a few other realtors I reached out to and called. One even stood her up, but didn't show up to the appointment. But I answered the phone. I showed up, and she actually communicated this weekend that we're going to try to get that house prepped for sale. So yes, it is very big to answer the phone and keep your mailbox cleared out. I'm notorious for my mailbox being full. So I apologize in advance. I'm keeping that thing cleared out from this point forward.
all right. So I guess that would probably conclude this. So if anybody would want to get in contact with you, can you give them your contact info?
Absolutely. My cell number is 256-468-0634, and you can call or text. And I also have a website, buyandsellhuntsville.com, where you can get a free home value report. So no, nothing that you have to give for it. It's free of charge. So you can just go in and put your address in, and I'll send you a free estimate. And that's kind of how we do business.
All right. And if y'all are needing any pre-approvals or anything, you can reach me at 256-631-0764. And we'll see you next time. Stay blessed, guys.